Kakamega County. Alan Ochanda is there for us and is joining us via phone. Alan, it's good to hear from you. Just talk to us about the events that transpired today. No, earlier on, those protests in Kakamega turned violent. What is the update so far?
In Kakamega was in the morning by 10 in the morning. It had already, we saw groups of demonstrators, and you could clearly tell that the demonstrators were in different groups. Some were wielding some wounded batons, while some were actually armed with flags, national flags, and the groups almost clashed in the morning, meaning that those who were armed with batons appeared like they were mobilized by the business community just to protect the businesses within the town here. But it almost degenerated into a face-off before the police intervened. But for the better part of the day, the demonstrators who were not really demonstrators, but remember that in the recent demonstrations here in Kakamega, they were sort of infiltrated by criminal elements. That they were mostly hijacked by criminal elements who've actually descended on business premises here. We could tell from the top of buildings here, from the top of the buildings where we were taking cover, that they descended on several business premises where they carried out wanton destruction of property and looting, attacking those who were sort of neutralizing them, those who were blocking them from destroying property and looting. But you could easily tell they were actually unleashing terror on those who were appearing to be against the demonstration and looting property. Whether small businesses like those fruit vendors and even small shops within town, and those remember that in the last week when they are carried out looting in the large shops here, like those are the Indian-owned shops that were actually selling motorcycles, but today they were not sparing any business premises within town. So, but they are quite uneasy with any person recording, any media personnel in the streets, and so really quite uneasy with them, uncomfortable with them, and really ensuring that they clear anybody in the streets who is actually filming them. But we could do so from the story buildings where we captured them, really carrying out looting in those business premises. So before they were dispersed by police, who've now taken over and carrying out patrols within the town. You can actually see on the screens, on our screens there's actually some of one of the main streets here in Kakamega where you can see there's little activity there. Nothing really going on because the demonstrators have actually been engaging police in a cat and mouse game, really just ensuring that we carry out the demonstrations. Whenever the police go to other streets to ensure normalcy is returned, then they really converge in those in the busy streets here, really causing mayhem. We've also been we can also authoritatively report that a primary school here within Lurambi, specifically in Kakamega town, that is a Mahiakalo Primary School. Some children have actually been lobbied tear gas at, so they've actually been affected, but we are yet to make our way there because the school is actually just within town, but we've actually been patrolling the other areas, and we shall be in our subsequent bulletins really be informing our viewers with what really transpired here when the demonstrations subside. That's when we can quantify whatever the magnitude of the destruction caused by those criminal elements who infiltrated the demonstrations. Yeah, we've also seen the Gen Zs have actually, remember that in the past demonstrations, the Gen Zs will actually be easily identified by their mode of dressing. They could don those they could actually wave those national flags, those are small national flags, and also donning black outfits. But today we can easily identify the larger groups of persons who actually hijacked these whole demonstration are actually people who cannot be really classified as Gen Zs, but those who will be easily identified as people out to cause mayhem, cause destruction of property, looting, and just engaging police in running battles. But actually, when maybe it subsides and when the police have actually maybe just the turmoil that is actually being experienced and witnessed here in Kakamega, we could maybe go around the town here to just look at the magnitude of destruction and looting as it were last week. You can see on your screens some sort of some youth in their hands there, really, on the streets there. They have actually converged there and just before the police can really engage them. But as I indicated earlier, is that we've witnessed distinct groups of people who were demonstrating. Some were wielding rungos and batons in the morning. They were disarmed by the protesters here. But largely, it has actually been peaceful in the upper town of the upper side of the town. But in the lower side, we've seen and witnessed wanton destruction and looting of property. So actually, when we shall be making our way there, we shall be bringing our viewers to speed with what is that exactly happened here in Kakamega.
Thank you so much, Alan Ochanda, for painting a picture of the situation in Kakamega County. Those are the pictures you're seeing on your screen. But of course, before I let you go, Alan Ochanda, you did mention the fact that there were criminal elements that infiltrated those particular protests. Perhaps have we seen police take action?
Well, actually, remember that police are now exercising restraint and caution because in the past demonstrations, it's only Kakamega town within the former Western province that has been witnessing demonstrations, the anti-government protests here. Remember that Bungoma, Busia, and Vihiga have remained calm, largely calm, but in Kakamega we've seen that whenever they protest, we've seen some people being felled by police bullets. But today, they're sort of exercising restraint and caution to ensure that whenever they are dispersing crowds, they are doing so using tear gas canisters. They are lobbing tear gas canisters at those who have the intentions of looting and destroying property. But so far, nobody has been arrested because it's actually a cat and mouse game. Because the terrain, they really understand the terrain of the town. So whenever they sneak back to those back streets, the police vans cannot really penetrate and go looking for them. But the only thing they can do is just disperse them and ensure that they protect key installations like police station, the Kakamega State Lodge, and the county government offices. Remember that in the last 3 weeks we saw the torching of a vehicle belonging to the county government of Kakamega, and so really exercising caution. We've seen them really ensuring that no vehicle is in sight and ensuring that they prevent any other further losses. They have withdrawn all the vehicles. The county government vehicles have been withdrawn from the town. No DK cars here. Vehicles belonging to the government of Kenya. No, none of them is actually being seen here. We've seen the fleets of matatus have actually really gone down because they fear, because we've seen the torching of mkokoteni, because really going to the extent of torching such a maybe mkokoteni, then it really means that whenever they stumble on such a vehicles, then the torching will be inevitable. But as I mentioned earlier, is that we shall be going around the town when the situation has calmed down, because remember that whatever you're seeing on the screen now, maybe you could classify them as Gen Z. But since morning, we've seen criminal elements really defending on business premises, cutting away even things like sodas. They have actually stolen and looted and destroying those fridges, cutting away gas cylinders. And so when the situation comes, we shall be going to the streets there in the business premises to just ascertain and maybe quantify the magnitude of the destruction of property.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Alan Ochanda, for that. Well, that is the situation in Kakamega County. As you can see right now on pictures on your screen, the situation seems to be calm at this particular moment. But earlier on, we saw a few protesters there just protesting peacefully. And of course, as Alan Ochanda did mention, there are reports that a school in Kakamega has been affected by these protests. And of course, we're trying to ensure that this is the right information, just trying to ascertain that this report is correct. And of course, Alan Ochanda has mentioned that he will be making rounds, just trying to gather more information before we link up with him to get a proper update, another update of the situation on the ground. But that seems to be the scenes witnessed in Kakamega are equally witnessed in Nairobi. We've seen there police engaged in running battles with protesters. Once those protesters are dispersed, they go ahead and they regroup. And of course, they continue with the same routine, the same cycle. Get dispersed, regroup, and continue protesting. But as we've heard from various of our reporters on the ground, it is not certain what exactly the agenda of this particular protests are and what the agenda is. And of course, online we saw a number of those who are mobilizing online on social media platforms just saying that what they want is accountability. They are appreciative of the fact that, you know, the cabinet was dismissed and President William Ruto did withdraw that finance bill, but they still want justice for those comrades they lost during the anti-tax protests. They say that the dialogue that was called, the national dialogue that was called by President William Ruto, they're saying, you know what, it's time to act and it's enough talk. All we want is action as a country, as the clarion call by these Gen Zs remains that they want a better Kenya and that they're fighting for their future. And of course, we equally went to Mombasa County earlier on, and we saw the same situation being witnessed, police engaged in running battles with protesters. We've seen tear gas being lobbed, but the number of protesters that have taken to the streets is a drop in the ocean compared to what we saw 2 weeks ago when that finance bill was withdrawn, when we saw protesters occupy Parliament here in Nairobi, a situation that led to a number of deaths. And this is what Kenyans are saying. We want justice. They have not seen any of the police officer or any of the individuals that were, you know, involved in the extrajudicial killings held accountable. The youth